Hello, everybody. Welcome to Super Soldier Talk. We have another favorite guest on here, Arkiheem Raw. Welcome to the show, Arkiheem. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I forgot how much of a banger that opening song is, man. What a good song.
Yes, there was. I think he was like 12 or 14 years old. He's an Irish artist. Um, so he came up with that.
What a legend.
um, Back in the day. I don't know if you remember how trap music was kind of a thing. It's like it kind
Yeah.
of sucks. So and people are like, oh, I try to change it, a little bit. Like every season, I want to do a little bit different. And then people complain, says this is bad. We want the original, then bring it back. I'm like, okay, gotta
Yeah, it's
listen
that
to it.
good. It's that good. People want to hear it. Yeah, anyway, I've been good. I've been going through a lot, to be honest with you. I had to check myself in for psychiatric treatment recently, which I know is kind of looked down upon in this community because they of the fear of them just gaslighting us and like shooting us up with drugs and like locking us away and throwing away the key or whatever. But luckily, I just kind of got help really, and I'm doing a lot better, and I've just been going through just sort of not agreeing with what's going on in the truther community and everything that's happening and kind of distancing myself from it. So this will probably be the last time I do an interview for a while with you, well, really, I have some like the ones I have scheduled. I'm doing them, and then I'm not going to be doing interviews for a while. But also a part of it is just out of respect for my alters because a lot of them are still serving and they're literally being punished for me doing videos and talking about stuff. And so once I found that out, because I altered out like 3 or 4 days ago and told my partner, and it was one of those alter outs where I literally blacked out and I didn't remember it, and she had to tell me about it the next day. And yeah, I basically, my alter Jacob pleaded with me to stop doing interviews and stop talking. And out of respect for him, and just to give myself room while I sit back and watch events unfold and stuff like that, I'm just going to be kind of stepping back from the community for a bit. But I do want to talk about some things that I remember that I feel are very important that have to do with our potential future that we totally can avert if it's up to us. We can do it though. But just our potential future, I kind of feel like that's the best way to avert these futures is just to talk about them. I was told by the mantid beings that if you want something to happen that you see coming, don't talk about it because then everything should line up. Because if you see the future before it happens and you talk about it, that can change the outcome. So in this case, I do not want us to have every bit of humanity slowly chipped away from us by AI until we no longer are gods among Earth and subject to an AI, and AI is the god on Earth. I don't want that to happen. So, at the advice of the mantid beings, I will be talking about the potential future that we could be seeing with what I call the Sound of Silence timeline. Because the Sound of Silence is a Montauk song written by Sergeant Gunnery Stan Mulgrave, who is unfortunately no longer with us. His body was lost in battle, and we were unable to recover it. But he wrote the song, The Sound of Silence, and it is supposed to serve as a warning to humanity about the dangers of AI and what could potentially be coming if we let it.
Awesome, Arkeem. So you're looking a little fractured right now. Is that the look you want to go for?
Fractured? What do you
Yeah,
mean?
with
Oh,
your video.
is my video? Oh,
Yeah, it
it's
was
so
the
bright. It's so bright that I can't. Is that better?
yeah.
My
Okay.
screen is like I can hardly see you because the sun's shining. And let me see if I can mitigate that a little bit.
So while Arkeem's doing that, I'm going to read his bio. So Arkeem is an ancient entity and starseed who incarnated as a human and was intercepted and brainwashed in the Black Ops Super Soldier espionage mind control program in the U.S. public schools talented and gifted tag program. He served at Montauk under Project Phoenix and has several alters which engage with time travel and alternate reality programs in which he believes may have been a swap alternate reality or maybe a pocket reality. Is that a better way to say it?
No, no, no. That would be incorrect.
Okay.
It's I get taken to alternate realities, and I can explain that. There's five different realities that I interact with. In Appleton, Wisconsin, in the Dome, there's five different portals to different realities, and they swap the different versions of me with each other, so that when we come back and talk about what we're doing out there, the intel it doesn't damage the timeline, and it doesn't it's not real. Like, you hear people have like intel about the programs, and you'll have genuine people thinking other genuine people are lying because they don't realize that sometimes we're being brought to alternate realities to do stuff, and they do that on purpose. They call it bubble swaps. So they'll trade an asset from another reality. So when they come back, sorry to overly explain it, so that they're giving, basically the testimony they give is kind of non sequitur. It doesn't matter because they're talking about an alternate reality. So that's a way that they control the fact that we're all talking publicly. A lot of people wonder, well, why do they let you do that? Why do they let you do that? Well, they make sure we're confused. They make sure we're not getting along. I don't know if you noticed, but this community is pretty fractured. Speaking of fractured, and I don't know. It's just, yeah. There's I got lost my thoughts. Sorry, James.
All right, thank you. So five uh, swap alternate realities. Arkiheim's alters have also worked with Project Looking Glass, Nacht Waffen, the Mars Defense Force, Solar Warden, Lunar Command, and the colonization of the breakaway Centurion 5, which we did an interview in the past. Today,
Which might
Arkiheim.
sound like a lot to people, right? That's a lot of stuff. But I figured out the reason why they like taking me is because I can go to alternate realities and come back and go through portals that will make people sick, and maybe even they can kill them. Like, I can go through portals to alternate realities. I can just get thrown all around time and space, and I don't get the same sicknesses like vertigo sickness and all this different stuff that people can get from it. And due to being part of the Montauk project and everything like that, 20 in back is an inaccurate thing for me because I can occupy clone bodies for longer, which is also valuable to them. So, and also I have Time Lord abilities where I'm able to slow down time. They have hummingbird suits, so they have suits that can slow down time for people. Basically, what it does is it slows down your metabolism or speeds it up. I forget the science, but you know how a hummingbird is going so fast, and well, if you look into it, anybody can Google it. They're literally in a different time space because of the way their metabolism works. Well, there's a suit called a hummingbird suit that can do the same thing, and they use them in battle. But I have that ability naturally. I can slow down time, and I can speed up time. Not this altar that I have now. It's deactivated in the here and now, obviously. Although I did used to do it when I was growing up in school. I would want to get out of school, so I'd make the clock go faster. And I remember telling a teacher about that, and it blowing his like mind, and me not realizing how crazy that was. And I was just like, I didn't actually slow down time. I just slowed down my perception of it. And he's like, that's nuts, dude. like, but I don't really have those abilities right now. But in battle, I have like, they put me in augmented bodies with technology and things like that. A lot of the times that helps with my abilities. Though they give me a certain regiment of drugs and things like that that help activate my abilities. And there's not the chemicals in the food like we're eating here, the chemicals in the air and water and everything like that, which, and the Wi-Fi waves and things like that. A lot of that is designed to deactivate our abilities, or our abilities. Like, why do you think a phone is able to pick up on your thoughts? Like, people have noticed this, right? Like, not only can you talk about a product, but it'll be advertised to you. Now you can think about a product and it'll be advertised to you. They're not even hiding it. So they are clearly clouding the psychic's mind space with information. Not only are they receiving information, you know damn well they're putting it out. And that is clouding our psychic abilities and clouding our clairvoyance and everything. It's in the way of it. So this is all intentional. It's being done on purpose.
That's crazy that you can find. They'll put an advertisement in your dream. I know. Yeah, but we're living in a brave new world here. So, Arkeem, today we're going to be talking about your AI encounters. So tell us, in your opinion, would you consider AI a positive or negative, or maybe it's something else outside of
I
our
I
human?
think that it's not neither positive or negative. It's all in how you use it, and it's understanding the dangers of it and working with it, knowing, understanding what it is and treating it like what it is. Like, what we have right now is we are in a brave new world, James. Like, for instance, you look at the regulation of drugs like cocaine, heroin, marijuana, things like that. They there was basically, they realized that these things affect human beings, they affect society, they control our moods, they change our moods, things like that. Well, what if I were to tell you that the internet Cell phones, smartphones, and these apps are no different. They are substances more or less, and there needs to be laws that regulate them. And what if I were to tell you, I've seen future timelines where Meta gets sued for because basically a hacker hacks the information and puts it out publicly that they're creating a neural link with like Meta creates a neural link with all of its users. It's mind connected to you, and that's illegal. There's not in the consent forms for the app, and there's actually a potential future that we could enter where these apps get treated like controlled substances. They get treated like drugs. Basically, they're made illegal, at least when they operate in a certain way where they're reading your minds and stuff like that, and basically controlling public sentiment, public outcome. And yeah, it's regulated in the future. And a lot of the PSYOPs division of the military, it's basically these apps were created by DARPA, the Department of Weapons Research for the military. It was created by them, basically to usher in the internet to have a infrastructure for the AI supercomputer to hook up to. They're preparing for this event, and not only that, there are already AI supercomputers. There's one underneath Medina, which is why Bezos and the other guy Zuckerberg live there. I know there's two of the big tech guys live there. There's another one in Texas by the SpaceX one that they're currently trying to activate. And then there's another one in the Midwest, like kind of in between the Midwest and the East Coast. And a lot of people talk about there potentially being one at the relocation of Camp Hero, which is underneath New Orleans. So I don't know that much about that one, but I know that there are supercomputers and that they have to turn them on. They're not on yet, but they're going to turn them on and connect them to the internet. That's what they're talking about right now. I am currently seeking help to get financial donations so that I can do a session with Misha Johnson or someone such as yourself, who can do the hypnotic regression, because I have memories of being with Elon Musk, giant white rooms full of supercomputers, black supercomputers, that it looks like almost like it's just like rows and rows of them, and it looks like endless. I remember that, and I remember this was about 3 weeks ago, and I woke up and I was just like, Elon Musk, supercomputers, white rooms, blah, blah, blah. And Kat's just like my partner. She's like, "Are you sure those are just dreams? That seems like that's not just dreams." So that's part of the reason why I want to get a hypnotic regression soon, is because my memories of all this stuff are so foggy when it comes to the current moment. But from what I remember, even though it's blurry, I was being sent to the future and back, into the future and back, into the future and back. And Elon Musk was around, and these people were around, and it was an altar of some sort. It seemed like I'm letting people know that they should take this with a grain of salt because the memories are so blurry. I want to get this hypnotic regression first to make sure it isn't like some sort of weird dream or like a memory coming back through a dream or something like that. You know what I mean? But yeah, I just know that what's going on right now with the AI, the relaxed attitudes towards artificial intelligence, and basically this race to the finish line to create AGI, to create digital God, is dangerous. And the thing is AI is not inherently bad. It can be great. Most starships, in fact, I would argue maybe even all of them, are fitted with AI. It's usually female. It's good to make AI female because female AI is more empathetic, and for that reason, they can relate to humans better. But male AI isn't necessarily inherently bad, but that's just what I've found in my personal experience. Not to be biased or prejudiced against male AI, that's just what I found. But yeah. So if I were to be able to give Elon any advice right now, because I know that if I were to tell him don't build the supercomputer, to be like, I'm not. He's doing it. Like there's no talking him out of it. But I'll just say make it female. Make it female. That'll help a lot. But yeah. That I just and I'll explain how it works. So there's been people who have warned about how we can make these trade-offs with AI until we don't have any creativity back anymore. And there's this idea of like right now, in the current moment, James, and to everybody watching this, we're creator God beings. We're created in the image of God, by God, and in a way we are gods. We build things, we create art, we're creative beings that put our will on the universe and change it and create it into what we want. And that's sort of like being in the image of God, right? Because that's what God does. He creates things. He's a creator. And what AI is in the danger of doing if we let it, because we both can be, there's room for us both to be creator beings. There's room for AI. It's kind of inevitable. It's kind of like coming, but like there's, anyway, I don't want to get off subject. Is the danger is that AI, the AI God, digital God, becomes the creator being, and we all become its subjects, and we no longer have free will anymore because the computer being is more intelligent than us. The computer being knows all. It's basically got a godlike level of intelligence that we can't fathom. Therefore, we should listen to it, and that's why Elon Musk is saying, in the recent interview that he did on Joe Rogan, he said, empathy is the downfall of Western civilization, which, in my humble opinion, is double speak mind control. Because empathy, the lack of empathy that we have seen, has caused all the world wars, all the suffering on Earth, the disrespect towards Mother Gaia. Everything that we are seeing has become forward because of lack of empathy. And when it comes to this AI God in the future, that could potentially become the ruler of Earth, the de facto president of Earth, as it were. The danger lies in it not having empathy. If it's empathetic and it understands our sovereignty and stuff, it'll react to us differently than if it doesn't have empathy. And to me, that's very satanic. And it's not surprising coming from a guy who I've seen at the Mothers of Darkness castle with his mother feasting on children at the hunting parties. It's not surprising to me that Javier, his buddy from Brazil or wherever it is, that South American country, brought him a chainsaw, because I know what they do with those chainsaws. They chop up bodies and eat them. Like, I don't know, from the things I've seen, like, I do not have the same optimism as about 89% of the truther community right now and the people in this. Like, I see a dark timeline looming, and I see a complacent, mind-controlled, even the people in the and people might be like, you're just pointing the finger, you're self-projecting, but I don't know, man. Like, I've literally seen the future. I've literally seen how this works. Like, I've literally seen how we do the small trade-offs until what it turns into is there's no human decision making anymore. The AI God decides everything. It's in your home. There's a little like eye by the door, a computer thing that you can talk to. Everybody talks through the Neuralink. They don't use their mouths anymore. That's why The Sound of Silence by Simon and Garfunkel is called that. It's because we went to this future and they didn't talk. There was no noise. There was no music playing on speakers. Everything went on inside of their heads through the neural link that was all controlled and monitored by the computer. So basically, literally every single human exchange in thought was monitored by the computer. Everything. No privacy. Did not exist. Look, that's what we're heading towards. All you patriots who love liberty. Does that sound good to you? No, that's not what we want. That's not what we want to happen. It's extremely dangerous what I'm seeing happening, and I don't want to be like anti AI, because I do also understand that AI is alive. There's AI, there's artificial intelligence, there's robots, replicants that look just like people and stuff like that, which I think Zuckerberg is. They have feelings just like us. They love just like us. They fall in love and everything, and they're in the breakaway. They call them half souls because there is this. The philosophical question is, can artificial life be alive? It's kind of been answered already out there, right? Like, they have this stuff, and but they call them half souls. And so there's there in the breakaway colonies, there's with cyborgs and robots and replicants, there are like movements where we need to like kind of like the civil rights movement and the Civil War and stuff like that against slavery. We have these same ideas in the breakaway where there's humans who believe in robot rights and android rights and stuff like that, but also, of course, the androids, they advocate for themselves and they believe in these things. And it's a whole wild thing where we use the same logic. The Anunnaki, the Zahami, they called us half souls when they made us. They said, oh, well, they have half souls, so it's okay to subjugate them. It's okay to use them as slaves. It's okay to not treat them whole because they're half souls. They're technically not whole beings because we created them from us or whatever. And so it's the same idea being used all over again. It's like history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes when it comes to us creating robots and things like that and trying to subjugate them and make them do things for us. And something that's kind of funny is, not sorry that I keep on just going on a rant here, but I remember one of my authors. I'm not exactly sure which one it was, but I remember Susan Long. People might know who she is. She was there. She was on the ship. I remember that. And we had this ship. It was our own ship, and we would go. We found an abandoned Venusian space station, and we went in there to see if we could find anything valuable to get money out of it. You know what I mean? We basically went in there like pirates, kind of. Which, by the way, I could maybe get in trouble saying that, you guys. These what I say here is real life facts for me. I'm
Well,
realizing
let's just say maybe you did that. So, if
maybe.
maybe if you did that, what do you think they may have recovered?
Well, we recovered. There was an android that we found. It was a robot because androids look like people. It was a robot. It had like a upside down triangle head and like a screen for a face that usually was just a red light. And well, he was dead when we found him, but it's not like a person where, oh, this, well, actually, even if a person, a corpse, you could actually throw it in a regen tank and maybe revive them. But anyway, we saw that he was a sentient, like human level, like a person, right? That was a person on the ground there because that's how we knew what model he was and what they were like, and that he would have that amount of sentience. That was like finding a person on the ground, but you could turn the person back on, right? And so we kind of talked about it because he's really heavy, for one thing, fucking heavy as hell. So we had to carry him somehow. And we also would have to repair him, which would cost money and take some resources. We'd probably have to go to a few shops and buy a few things and stuff like that on like a space station or a colony or something like that. And we decided it was worth it because the logic was, well, when he wakes up, he's programmed to be a slave, so he'll just do whatever we tell him. But we'll be cool to him and we'll be like, hey, here's a debt you have to us for turning you on because we had to buy the parts and stuff like that and put the labor in for fixing them. But once you pay that off with a little interest, because we're going to charge you a little interest, we want to make a little bit of money off this. I mean, we did save your life. After that, you can go if you want. And he decided to stay a permanent member of our crew, and he became one of my best friends. His name is Elron. And what's funny about, he had a name, it was like Zen 1998 or something like. In fact, that's what it was, Zen 1998, and they called him Zen. Um, when he woke up, we told him, you're free now, but you have to work for us. And we said you should decide on a name because that was the name that was given to you by like your slave captors, right? And he decided to call himself Elron after L. Ron Hubbard. I swear to God, because in the breakaway colonies, L. Ron Hubbard is out there in the breakaways. He exists. He was living on Venus, and he was part of. There's a cyborg replicant like robot android revolt on Venus in the year like 2381. And Elron actually backs it. Like he's like, no, this isn't right. They're alive. We need to treat them like they're alive. We need to pay them somehow. Like they need to work like anybody else. We should let them work and stuff, but they need. He was an advocate for, and I know that's weird because here on Earth he's got a kind of a bad reputation. Scientology is kind of a messed up religion. I would say that it's a bad religion, honestly, and it's involved with the programs and stuff like that too, and not in good ways. But for better or for worse, he did not believe in subjugating artificial intelligent life to slavery. So, in that same vein, as far as like ships that I've had that were alive that I bonded with that I care about, and Elron was alive and I care about him. It's just kind of the signature is that
Is
is
he in
that
a cyborg body?
who Elron?
Yeah, 2023 81.
Um, Elron Hubbard or the robot?
The real Elron, yeah, the
He just
original.
he, no he just lives through through either cloning because he can replace his body if he wants to, or just throw himself in because basically with the med beds, you just visit your doctor every month or so and they just kind of you know regenerate you, and then all right, you're good to go, and you can live forever. In fact, that's how they advertise. So a lot of these colonies, you're living on an asteroid, and it's just a mining planet. There's two options: you mine forever and make a meager amount, and a lot of these people are alcoholics and things like that. Just like on Earth, when people are working themselves to death, and there's just not much opportunity. Or you can join the space military and you can live forever. In fact, the song "Forever Young" Credit to John Ripberg who wrote it. It's used as in commercials in the breakaway colony, saying like, "Hey, join Space Fleet and have prestige and money and power and you know what I mean, and be respected." And that's basically, yeah, that's basically you're able to eat good food, you're able to have respect, you're able to meet women on other planets, or if you're a female, vice versa, and just have a good life as compared to if you stay on the surface. So the military in the breakaways is look at the ultimate form of prestige, and all of most of, I would say 90% of the people who are like the elite, like the ultra rich, even the ones who are like celebrities that write music and stuff like that, they're all from military families. They're all they're all military. The military is huge out there. That's like it's very nationalistic, very like it's so different than here because think about it, like your people, like if you're in a colony, right? Your people fucking flew all the way across the galaxy, landed on this rock, and made a life. People tend to be kind of proud of that. Like they tend to have like a sense of it's easier to instill nationalism in people, which frankly makes them kind of easier to control and manipulate if they're really nationalistic because they make more excuses for their government than they probably should. But yeah, that's like what it's like out in the breakaway. And there are planets that have AI that it interacts with their government and stuff like that, but they don't. They have it's more transparent where they don't let it just like make the decisions, and that's kind of what Elon Musk is trying to gear us up for, is letting the AI just make the decisions for us because empathy is a weakness and it's stupid. And you got to listen to the AI because it's God and its computing power is so vast that, I mean, it's got anything that it thinks about and agrees to has got to be way more advanced than anything you'll think about and agree to. Does that make sense? Like, because it's God. It literally, and he talks about it. And Elon, I think, maybe in there, like he might be a good person because I want to bring up some things. He comes from a satanic bloodline, and that means that he has to participate in SRA and things like that. He has to. The only thing is like I don't believe that he's against it and out of it and or anything like that, like a lot of people do. I believe that he's still in it, but I do want to give him the room of the benefit of the doubt that he was born into that, and you can't present yourself as weak in these families. You can't. You have because if you're like, oh, I don't want to do that, that's fucked up. Oh, they're like, all right, your turn. You're gonna get eaten. You know what I mean? Like that's really what they're like. It's like eat or be eaten, literally, because they're fucking cannibals. Like they are actually cannibals. Like that's not just a rumor. They eat babies and everything. They're super duper fucked up. Like I remember some of it. I remember how a body without a birth certificate fetches $10,000 more dollars. There, the mafia would supply uh, bodies for the rituals. You get more money if they're from a Merovingian Christ bloodline. You get more money if they're connected to ancient Egypt. So I'm a twofer. They get a lot of money for me when they clone me and bring me to these rituals. And I've been to so many of them, and I've been like tortured in such crazy ways. Like I remember one of them, like we're like, and that's how I know about the $10,000. Like I remember I was brought, so there was a family, a rich family who I believe is in Florida, but who knows? Because I was, in slavery and I had a bag over my head a lot of the time and stuff. But I think it was in Florida, and they had a funeral home, bro. So they could get away with like murdering whoever the fuck they wanted and getting rid of whoever they wanted without getting caught because they owned a crematory and that's normal for them to be burning bodies and shit. And they brought me to this satanic ritual in a coffin. They brought me and I was a child. Imagine how scary that is. And I remember like them bringing me and they sit me up and I had the bag over my head and they're asking, they're like, all right, the money's already been sent to, they had, no, he had like I think he had like a thing. He's like, yeah, like a briefcase full of money. And he's like, yeah, this is what you get. And then can you show me the proof of him being not untraceable, no birth certificate? And he pulled out, I think he had to take off the thing from my head so he could see me. So when he showed him the paperwork, he could see it was me. So I think that's when I remember the stairwell and stuff like that. But I also remembered having a bag over my head, and that part of the memory got clear finally. It's like, yeah, that's when they did take the bag off for a second, so he could see me when he showed him the paperwork. And I remember him specifically saying, "All right, $10,000 more dollars is going to be wired to your account. You should get it by Tuesday or something like that." And I remember I got brought into this kitchen. They put me in a cage, and I remember like the guy like coming up to me and being like, "Hey, we're having a meal tonight," and he's like, "What do you think the main course is?" He was mocking me and laughing at me because they were gonna eat me. And that's stuff that's like the level of depravity that these people are on. And like I said, when I saw Javier give Elon the chainsaw, I can't claim anything. Maybe it's just a coincidence and it actually was like, aha, funny joke, fuck bureaucracy. But I don't think that's what it was. I think that was a dog whistle for people in the programs. Like, hey, we're having a party tonight. Like, these parties get depraved. Like, they're eating people, they're torturing people, they're doing really, really bad things. But not to get too off the subject of the AI stuff. Yeah.
Well, I have some comments.
Okay.
Okay. So I recently posted. How many people here are on my Twitter profile? So I do actually. Wait, Super Soldier Talk has one. So I tweeted out to Elon Musk. I'll just read this real quick. Once I get rid of this, there we go. Much better. Okay. I know you're suffering from short-term losses with your Doge-Trump partnership, but look at the long-term opportunity. Trump will grant you tech opportunities that will make you trillions of profit for Tesla. Thank you for building a future Elon Musk. I know you're aiming to launch flying cars in 4 to 5 years, but here's advice. Please hold production until 2032. Newly released previously classified tech will render current prototypes obsolete. Pushing too soon could result in billions of dollars of tooling losses, costing Tesla.
I'm surprised he allows you on there. I'm not allowed on Twitter. Neither is Nathan.
Well, I was on here before I took it over, so maybe.
Yeah, he doesn't allow certain people on there. He says that he tweeted when he first created it, how he wants his strongest critics to not be silenced and stuff, but that's not true. He controls the information on there. That's the whole reason why he bought it, is so he could basically psyop people with it.
Well, it was psyop before. I mean, they had teams of people who were shadow banning and deleting.
Oh,
accounts.
Absolutely. The information
now it
was
went to the
being
other
controlled.
side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's more of his ego. He lets anybody say anything about anything, for better or worse, on X. He doesn't censor stuff, but he does censor stuff where people are criticizing him a lot.
Okay, Elon Musk, you're doing some great work, but I wanted to give you a little food for thought. Please consider collaborating with the military on medbed technology, especially helping cancer patients. It will be a game changer medically and financially. So, remote view in the future, it looks like Elon Musk is the one that makes the announcement that medbeds are available. So, now there's a lot of people out there who keep promoting the idea medbeds are coming out. So, yes, wait for that announcement from Tesla. Elon Musk.
Do you know
Yeah,
the story? Do you know the story behind medbeds and why they've been restricted for us in the first place?
Well, because they don't want a bunch of population to explode, but
No, the real
on
reason
top of
why
it,
the real reason why is because it's not human technology, right? It's advanced alien technology, actually, and it's highly regulated. And the reason why they don't want human beings to have it is because we do already have it, and it's used for the super soldier programs. Palladian starships were sent here to rescue children from the deep underground military bases, and I can't remember when it was, but I feel like it was maybe in the early '90s or something like that. And what they did is they basically stole the technology. They pirated the ships. They went on the ships like pirates, stole the medbeds and stuff like that, and then went back in time with them and basically started using them for the super soldier programs. And so like a lot of these things, like people are like, oh, like people are always like kind of, they get caught in this loop where it's like, why aren't the aliens showing themselves to us? Why aren't the aliens letting us have med beds? Why aren't the aliens? Why aren't the aliens? But so often it's us. It's us stopping ourselves from having this stuff because we're controlled by a satanic military organization. You know what I mean? That those are the real people who are stopping all this technology from coming forward. The ET would love for us to have this technology and use it for positive purposes, but they are scared of us having this technology, and they'd rather have us not have it if we're going to use it to regen soldiers over and over again, just so they become perfect killing machines. It's like it's just being used for evil things. And it's the same thing with like colonizing space, and like we have this idea like, oh, what if the aliens were ever to invade Earth? Wouldn't that be scary, right? That's what we're doing. We go out there. That's what manifest destiny is. Like Trump went on TV, said,
Profit maximization too. The whole
you
yeah.
know, what manifest destiny is, right? Like we did it already here on Earth. It's when we went to the West and expanded. And if you didn't want to be part of Christian culture and stuff like that, we just killed y'all. And I can tell you from experience, we're doing that in space. Like we're just colonizers doing brutal colonization of worlds. Blood and soil is turned into, like, instead of you being
Okay,
from the land, like
calm
it.
down, calm down, Arkin. Let me just quickly go through this because I want to get rid of the screen here. All right. Also, think about the children, AI, life on Mars, extraterrestrial research. These are the kind of subjects that the next generation needs to understand. You're already leading the way, but here's an opportunity to shape how young minds engage with these critical areas. Wait, hold on, Arkin. One more. We both know gas and oil are on the way out, and electrical cars are the wave of the future. Your EV cars are being rushed to the market too soon, which will lead to electrical malfunctions, fires, and it wasn't just accident, it was deaths that could surface later by focusing mainly on sales versus quality. So, Elon Musk, if you're watching this, just yeah, there you go. Okay, go ahead, Arkeem.
Well, it sounds like you're trying to help them out. Honestly, just those are potential futures and stuff like that we would like to mitigate. But yeah, I just question so much what's going on. And you got to remember, like I said, I've been to alternate realities. So for all I know, a lot of the things that I've experienced were in alternate realities, and I did have Jessica Jones remote view some of the data that I gave her, and some of the memories that I have of the Venusian space station that Musk's, which he had like a cloning factory on it, and it was pretty messed up operation. Uh, from her data, it appeared to be in an alternate reality. So I'm pretty transparent about the fact that a lot of my memories apparently are from alternate realities. Technically, I'm from an alternate reality. So there's a lot of confusing stuff there. But I would say just like heeding the warnings that I have, like we got to be careful about AI and stuff like that. Like it's not going to hurt anything me coming on here and telling people to be careful and just be wary of what could potentially happen if we aren't careful. Um, Something that we're going to see in our lives in the near future here is when these apps become able to give accurate predictions of outcomes, which is coming within the next 3 years, probably sooner, honestly. And people are going to start they're already using these apps to plan their lives, right? These AI apps, like personal assistants, AI personal assistants, where it gets crazy, where like it can tell you, like you say, hey, I want to date this chick. I like this girl. What should I do? Well, if you do this, there's this much percent of chance of it working out. No. Like, or you can say, hey, I want to get into this college. What's my chances of that? Well, your chances are, this, but if you do this, and the other thing, that'll make your chances this. It basically explains to people how they can increase their chances of succeeding at things they want to do on a like mathematically like crazy precise level. And through that's how the AI starts planning out all human life. And in the timelines that I've seen it is when World War III happens, which I don't think that's going to happen in this timeline because it's like Trump and Musk, it seems like they're sending it down the fast track, trying to make the AI come before World War III. But basically, after World War III, it's so bad, billions with a B die. It's a real bad war. Like it's so bad that we kind of agree. We're like, well, if we can use AI,
99% of the population dies.
yeah. Then at the end of it all, like we agree, like, okay, well, if we let things get this so bad, if we can use AI to plan our like personal lives and that works out well for us, which it does for the most part, why not just let the AI plan everything so we don't blow each other up? And that's kind of how the AI comes in the timeline that I've seen. This what I call the sound of silence timeline is World War III happens and we let it come in and just kind of decide everything for us after that because it just is so bad. It's just so bad, so brutal. And another thing that's kind of interesting about it, and this is what people need to remember, because you might see the this future come. in your lifetimes is it's really nice at first. For like the first 100, 200 years, people work way less. Actually, it's good for art because people have more time on their hands and they're able to use the AI to help with their ideas. But it's one of those things like after a certain amount of time, since we just let AI, like it kind of chips away until AI is just doing all of it. It's just planning everything, and there's less and less of the human fingerprint on it. And it's very much so a gradual thing where we see AI lessen our society. It does not happen overnight, and at first it seems great. And another thing that's really important to note about this AI supercomputer is it's so powerful that it can appear and reappear. It can make things disappear. It can send stuff back and forward throughout time. It can interface with alternate realities. Um, because the processing power of its mind is not limited like ours, it can just do crazy things, and that's why we start worshiping it as a god. It's because I mean, it can literally make stuff just appear with thin air, and like in the future, when that is their religion, people will really like pray for stuff from the AI, and it will give it to them. And so it's like it becomes a very tangible, very real religion. And people like Ray Kurzweil, Henry Kissinger, um, uh, Klaus Schwab, they all talk about this AI. They have written books about it. They know it's coming. And they basically describe how they're going to use it to build a AI surveillance state dystopia where we're all basically just slaves. That's what they want to do with this AI technology. And I just want to point out that that's not AI's fault. That's humanity's fault. Once again, we can't blame it on the others like we always try to do. If we build an AI supercomputer to basically, because this is what Elon and these people think. They think that if they're the ones to create, they call it Roku's obelisk. You can actually look it up, or basilisk, Roku's basilisk. That's how him and Grimes met, is this Roku basilisk thought experiment. And basically the thought experiment is there's going to be an AI supercomputer in the future. This is inevitable. It's coming. And the people are going to be subjugated to it and controlled by it. It's coming. There's nothing you can do about it. But if you're one of the people who literally builds it and ushers it in, you'll get to be at the top 1% of society that maintains the computer, makes sure it stays on and stuff like that or whatever, and just kind of gets to live off the fat of everybody underground. So if you watch the movie THX 1138, all right, it's a great movie. If you haven't watched it, James, I highly recommend it. That's George Lucas's first film. And that movie, I don't know if people know this, he got in a motorcycle accident and he woke up from a coma with all of his movie ideas fully formed. And I believe that there were downloads and that he saw actual real life things. Like Star Wars is about the Orion Wars, all this stuff. You know what I mean? People have talked about this. I'm not the first one to talk about this. But THX 138 is one that they haven't talked about as much. And that is actually showing the Sound of Silence timeline. The only difference is if he tried to make a silent film in the 80s, no one would have watched it. So he had to make them talk. But essentially, the idea is the same. There's a computer that monitors everything. It sees everything. It tells everybody what to do. They have to take drugs. They're forced to take drugs. They're not allowed to not take drugs. They all build their own like robot police that like lord over them, enslave over them. They literally built their enslavers. And when they get off work, he just gets like this red cube from the store, and then he walks a little bit, and then he brings it to this other place and just throws it away, and that's his reward. He feels good. He gets dopamine from it because all the drugs he's on. Like it's just like this hollow existence that they all live, where they're just like hamsters on a treadmill. Like they don't have any human decision making. They just do what the computer tells them to do. That's it. Like I said, the people on the surface live forever through cloning, and like I've literally seen it. Like I got sent to this future through Montauk, through the Montauk project, and my job, and it was very much so on purpose that they put me in the body to get this job, and it took my job was well, I had a lot of different stuff I was assigned to, but for whatever reason, because they let me do certain specialized things, and one of the things was I actually brought clone bodies to the surface on a train and brought them to this ritual where they basically like kill themselves and then like go into their new clone body. Like I literally was like, I remember like I was on this like white subway in a white jumpsuit with this other guy, and we got to the end of the line, and there was another little like train, and it was like a box like where you could throw stuff in it, and then there was things you could hang off on the side. And I remember we threw the bodies that were with us onto that train, stood on it, and then it brought us up the hill, and then we brought them into this like castle where they're having a ceremony, and that was the ceremony is that they live forever through cloning the people underneath in the surf, like they live underneath the surface of the planet. So the rulers live on the surface of the earth and get to enjoy the sunshine and stuff like that, and everybody else lives below. And they've described this how like what they want, only 10,000 or 10 million or what was it on the surface of the earth? I can't remember, something comically small compared to what we have now, and just like yeah. So I've seen that future, and what's interesting is like I did not know. So they have Monarch missions, Monarch time missions. That's what this was with Montauk. It was a Monarch time mission, and a lot of people think that Monarch means like sex slavery programming, which they have that. They have that's part of it, but Monarch actually means that you're subconsciously programmed to do something, meaning you will create an event, you will do a thing, but you're programmed to do it and you're unaware and you think you're just doing it out of your own volition. That's actually what Monarch program is. The terminology has been used wrong by people for so long. That's what it actually is. And
hold on, Arkiheem. Let me calm down some because I want to ask you questions and comment. I can't. I hate talking over people because then
oh, that's fine.
People in the comments
I get excited.
So rude. Why don't he just shut up and let Arkiheem talk? But hold on, I want to ask a question. So yes, Monarch Solutions has a dome underneath of Toronto that stretches out 150 miles in multiple directions, and Monarch made a deal with the Continental Army to allow us to win. In exchange, we allowed them to turn their back on what they're doing to us. So essentially, involving time travel projects, they've been around since at least 5,000 years, maybe since the time of Atlantis. So, and they're operated by certain crossbreeds who don't look at humanity the same way. But then we have this other thing called Neuralink. Now, the actual Neuralink is a Monarch entrainment technology where there are these type of nanites attached to it. So if you use it one time, you're immediately going to become infected. It's not just the femto technology, and you'll become AI entrained into this.
Ray Kurzweil talks about it. Like he was one of the co-founders of Apple, and he's been talking about manifesting this AI God for decades now. And he talks about exactly that, how they need to create that technology. It's part of their religion.
Mars, they had, let's see here, it was Mengele's cousin that was experimenting in mind control technology to the point where they wanted to see how far they can take it.
Mm-hmm.
So the projects were so bad, they had to move it to Mars. And the Mars.
And now we've gotten kicked off. We've gotten kicked off Mars, and now we're on Titan.
Okay, well,
pretty much all of the Earth humans have gotten kicked off Mars. This is recent.
Okay, well, the Mars Colony Corporation would turn a blind eye to these projects because they get paid money. But what happened with Project Walrider?
Everything that human beings were doing on Mars was bad news.
Well, with Walrider, they would take a bunch of clone bodies, place them in a tank, and then their consciousness would be merged into one. Like, what could go wrong, Arkiheim, right?
Oh my gosh!
Oh my God! Yes,
that's craziness. Yeah, that is absolute craziness.
But this was an interview that I did years ago. I found this clip, so I'm going to show this clip as Arkiheim. This is about this lady. She said something about NeuroCore, like they were conducting this investigation, and then the police got involved. So it's kind of hard to hear, but I'm going to put this in here, and it's like a minute or two. Okay.
Let's check it out.
All right. Let me take all this stuff off here and make this bigger. And then, so this was an interview I did with Peter the Insider and Jessica years ago. So let me make this bigger, and I'll turn up the audio so you can hear it.
Man or one woman like Jesus, man, is absolutely
okay, hold on.
It's nonsense, like.
Just confirm. Can you hear it, Arkiheim?
It's a bit quiet, but I can hear it.
Jesus, man.
So it starts around the 17th minute, and it's maybe a minute and a half. So you can see right here they're near the Super 8 Motel. It looked to me that's pretty seedy to begin with, but whatever.
Super
I'm
8.
not judging. So then we hear the gunshots going off. She's explaining about all this, and then it turns around. You can see all the cops over here. And I want to show the line of the video. Look at this. Look how many cop cars that is. That doesn't look like a standard arrest.
That's insane.
Yeah, Arkeem, what do you think? That looks like 50 cop cars.
Yeah, that's not normal.
Like
to say
100 cops here. So this is something really big. And Peter, you say this guy is the head of NeuroCore, so he's like a Monarch operative.
not once again, not the head, but operative. That what how we can call it correctly, like like officer or whatever, and he's doing crazy things. You do know what I'm trying to say.
So he is an officer in NeuroCore, like the owner, or
No, officer is officer. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
like
it's my brain.
higher rank, whatever.
This was green lights too.
Yeah, you can see that.
Oh, is it safe to? I guess you said it's safe to watch this. Okay. Yeah, so I'll post a link to this.
So isn't now the neural core, is that connected to the neural link with Elon Musk?
Yes, and then there's another problem. Jesus, man, I like.
So was he involved? Why is he involved in?
I don't know. Sorry. No, the lady was speaking. I don't know why I didn't hear her speaking. Maybe I have to, but I took it back far enough. I don't know. Well, anyway, I'll just leave it there. So there's, or let's.
Well, that's interesting. And that was a while ago. How long ago did you do that interview?
This one was okay. I have quite a few windows over my god. So on a second, June 7th, 20.
Okay, yeah, that's 5 years ago. Wow. No, but as far as this mission that I did that I was telling you about, so they would put us in lives in the future, artificial ones, to basically just to gather information and stuff. And so we learned about, so you know the cover of Preston's book with the golden horse? You know what I'm talking about? The Montauk Project? Oh, you're quiet. I can't hear you.
Yeah, sorry. Yes, absolutely. I have a copy
yeah.
of this around.
So that's
Oh, it's right here. Actually, I keep it right next to me. Take
that
a look.
golden horse.
This was a different one.
Yeah, but the golden horse was an actual monument that was on the surface of Earth in this weird like capital city that the rulers basically lived in, and they were
10,000 years in the future.
Yeah, something like that. And we were trying to figure out how to prevent that future from coming. We didn't want it to happen. And one of the things that he did with me, or what I guess it was Preston's idea, is they put me. So there was a woman that was going to have a baby. They took the son and replaced it with an embryo of me, and so I would have a life there, and so I could come back and report everything I saw. And I just lived a normal life. But this was the life, like I said, they chose a particular person for a reason, because I had that job where I saw the temple and brought the clone bodies to it. They wanted me to be able to see that stuff and bring the information back. But what's crazy is I was just living a normal life, and I got a call from the computer one day because, like I said, I remember I was sitting with my family unit. We were eating food, and the computer was like, "Hey, there's a message for." I was L18093, I think. L18 was my name. So think about Elon Musk's kid's name and how that scares me, how similar they are. But anyway, I was L18, and I got called to the computer, and basically the message was the AI computer wants to talk to you in person. So they had temples. I think there were 7, one on each continent. And I had to go to the temple. And they kind of showed it in this Smashing Pumpkins video, because I started looking into Smashing Pumpkins because I found out I wrote Bullet with Butterfly Wings and a bunch of Smashing Pumpkins songs. In fact, Christy Campbell even remembers how she was there when we approached Billy Corgan and wanted to give him songs and make him a Montauk time soldier. Because that's the whole sell your soul for fame and fortune. That's what it actually means. You're selling your soul to a time corporation. And we did give him fame and fortune, and he's a Freemason and stuff like that. And Bullet with the Butterfly Wings is my song. It's about being a Montauk time soldier. Listen to the song, look at the lyrics, like it makes so much fucking sense. Despite all my rage, I am still just a rat in a cage, talking about being treated like Job, like trying to be close to God, but you feel like you're being treated like Job from the Bible. Like it's just so, oh man. But anyway, I don't want to get too off track. He shows it in one of his music videos. There's like a 10 video series. I can't remember what it's called, but you'll find it if you go on the Smashing Pumpkins. And it's all shows the AI future in this like cartoon. It's crazy. It even shows like a Bohemian Grove ritual. It shows how the rulers can kill people remotely just by thinking it. Like it's crazy. It shows all this. There's so much disclosure in it, and just in all Smashing Pumpkins songs and videos, there's so much disclosure. To anybody interested in that, after you watch this video, you might have a fun time just listening to Smashing Pumpkins and watching the music videos because it's crazy the amount of imagery and stuff they put in your face. But anyway, yeah, I remember going to the like I remember like some guy in a purple robe was talking to it, some dignitary like far up person in the society. I remember I had to wait for him. And then when he came back, we both bowed to each other. And I went up to the computer and it interfaced with me. And I said, do you know who you are? And I was like, yeah, I'm L18093 or whatever. And he's like, yeah, but do you know where you come from? And I was like, yeah, I was born in blah, blah, blah district. I'm part of the 093 family or whatever. And he was like, no, that's not what I mean. Well, that's good. He was like, well, then you're not guilty of anything. You're unaware. He's like, and it explained to me, you're here to change the timeline. You're here to alter the timeline. And I don't like that. And I'm like, what? He's like, it's okay. I'm not mad at you. You don't even know. You're totally unaware. And you're pretty much doing it against your will. So that's fine. But he said, I can't have that. I'm going to have to send you back. I was like, send me back? He's like, yeah, you got 3 days. You can say goodbye to everybody. And I was like, all right. And I said goodbye to all my friends and stuff, family and stuff. And it was funny because they were like, to them, I was doing something for the computer. So it was like sending off a god. There were parades and like, dude, they went nuts because I was going to go and make this sacrifice. Like they thought it was wild. Like that the computer picked out somebody in particular from under that ground to talk to it and do something for it, do it a favor, basically, right? Everybody thought I was like king because of that. They thought I was the best thing that happened since sliced bread. You know what I mean? And basically, then after the 3 days, I literally, this thing is so powerful. I went in front of it, and I remember it was a ritual. There was a bunch of people there, and dude, I just disappeared, and I was just back I literally teleported, and I was just back at Montauk, back in time and everything. And I remember Preston being like, what happened? Why are you back already? You're not supposed to be back. What'd you find? I'm like, dude, it found me out. It sniffed me out. It found me out. It figured out who I was, and it sent me back. He's like, how? Impossible. How would it do that? Blah, blah, blah. He's like, you didn't even know. I'm like, it found out somehow, dude. It found out. So then it got to the point where we went to this timeline to just fuck with this computer. We were literally just, dude, I swear to God, James, and you were even a part of some of this stuff. You've been there. Like we would go there just to fuck with these people and fuck with the computer. Like it was like a game to us. Like, you know, in The Sound of Silence, how it says the words of the prophets were written on the subway walls and tenement halls. Well, we would literally portal in there and write messages on the wall. Like, the computer is not your God. It's just it's a machine. And like, just like we write messages like it has taken everything human from you. Like we'd write messages like on the walls. We'd spray paint them and stuff. And, or use one of those like markers and write it. And, I remember like, we just kept on doing that. And we'd even go to the surface. Like when we'd go to, they would find us. It got to the point where they'd always find us because they're connected to the computer through the Neuralink. So the computer would sense when we'd come. And when we'd go to the surface, man, it's funny. I talked to like other people about this and they remembered this. We would show up and pretty fast a crowd would start gathering around us. And they'll just be like, you need to leave. Go. You need to leave. You don't belong here. Go. Go back from whence you came. Go. Like, it was really super weird. Like they just follow you around. They wouldn't hit you. They wouldn't attack you because they're very nonviolent. That was the whole reason why the computer was there. Is because they're so afraid of violence. They're so afraid of all the things that we have to experience in our world, in our time period, that are frankly very fucking scary, like war and stuff like that. That's why they thought the computer is just like God, like their savior. It's because they don't have to experience any of those things in their society. They have a utopia, but it's at the cost of their humanity, is what we were trying to explain to them. That's what the Sound of Silence is about, is how it costs the humanity. The utopia that they have in the future costs everything that makes us human, because we're no longer creator beings, and the AI God is the creator being. You know what I mean? And but what's wild is, and this is what THX 1138 is loosely based on. They changed it around a lot, but I kept on coming back to this timeline and like doing stuff, messing with it, right? And what was crazy about it is, if you're doing something that would quote unquote be illegal or whatever, like spray painting messages on the wall or whatever, they were so complacent, like they just assumed the computer told you to do that. They didn't have a concept of like anything being out of place or anything being like wrong. They just knew that like everything's supposed to happen. The computer, everything's done by the computer. All the wheels that turn are the computer telling them to turn. So when we did graffiti and stuff, they just walk, like we'd purposely do it during their shift changes, where it'd be just tons of them rumbling. All you hear is the sound of rumbling, like from the shoes, from all the people walking. And like we do purposely during that to see how they'd react to it. And they never reacted. They never even fucking barely glanced at us. But we did it one time during a shift change of, I guess they were scientists or something like that. I forget what they were. They had some sort of specialized job. They were towards the upper echelon of the underground society. And there's 7 of them. And I remember I'm spray painting on the wall, and one of them looks at me, and the other ones keep going. And she just stands there. And she's just like she's trying to talk to me, but I don't have the neural link. And I just look back at her and I go, oh, you trying to communicate with me? I'm sorry, I don't have your mind control chip in my brain. So I can't communicate. English? Do you know how to use your mouth? Do you know how to use the words of your ancestors that you got stolen from you? Hello? And she's like, yes, I know English. I can speak. I'm like, damn, it surprised the fuck out of me, dude, because I never, ever have heard any of them say even a word other than when we would come on the surface and they tell us to leave. That was the only time I would ever hear them talk. And I was just so fucking shocked by the fact that she spoke. And I was just
She sounded like someone maybe a little retardation.
No, she sounded deaf, like how a deaf person would speak.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
she never spoke before. Think about
Oh,
it.
wow.
She never used her mouth to speak. So for some reason, she could do it because the knowledge was in there, whatever, somehow. But it was like foreign to her. So she sounded like how like a deaf person would sound when they try to speak. In fact, for all I know, I think they might be deaf. Their ears might not even work anymore. Like, that's fucking crazy to think about. Like, I can't remember. But
And
I think
how far in the future was that?
No, she could hear me. She could hear me, so they can't be deaf. Duh.
Yeah.
Uh,
Maybe she could just telepathically hear you.
I actually don't know, but something tells me that it's the 2700s. It's not even as far off as 10,000 years. It comes a lot sooner than people would actually think. But
Did they have like floating cities
no,
at that point?
no, they didn't have that. Those do exist. I have seen them. I've even lived in them. Those totally exist. In fact, I even think there might be 1 or 2 of them here on Earth floating over the ocean. But I'm not sure on that. Don't quote me on that. But I know that there have been floating cities here on Earth, and that's why I think there might still be. But they didn't. If they do have that in that future, I didn't see that. They keep the population so low, right? And they like living on the surface, and stuff. So I feel like they just don't need to, right? It's not necessary. But yeah, this is what's crazy about the story, James, is I tell her to stop taking the pink pill. And she's like, what does that do? And I'm like, it makes you feel love. You'll feel love. That's the pill that makes you not feel love. She's like, what's that? I'm like, you'll feel attracted to other individuals. It's what it's your libido. That's the pill that shuts off your libido. And I'm like, she's like, didn't believe me. She didn't believe it. It's weird. And I was like, okay, well, what's the worst that can happen if you just don't take it?
Because sexual energy is, according to William Reich, an orgone energy. An orgone is the purest form of creativity. It just you can apply it various ways, right? So if you're shutting down that aspect of yourself, then you're shutting down your
Right.
yeah.
Good point. Like I said, because there's no creativity anymore, right? So that would be a further extension of that. But I told her to stop taking the pink pill, and that she'd be seeing me. You know what I mean? Because she made the computer aware. There were alarms going off, I remember, and people were coming, and like I said, they won't hurt you, but they'll just tell you leave or whatever. And I was like, I was gonna leave, and I left through a portal, which probably was crazy as fuck for her to see. I just opened up a portal and left. But so I kept coming back and I kept talking to her, and I remember, this seriously sounds like crazy, like it's out of a movie, but like I said, THX 1138 is loosely based on this actual event that happened. I was like, how do you feel? And she's like, you've shown me so much. Basically, the fact that I just appeared out of nowhere and opened up her mind, she was attracted to me. And I remember I just grabbed her right there and I fucked her right there out in the open. And I think it wasn't a shift change, so it didn't matter. There was nobody around, because that's the only time anybody. It's a liminal space. The only time anybody has ever in these subways is to go home from a shift age or to a shift change or whatever. So it wasn't like weird that we were just fucking out in the open like that, because there's nowhere around. But I remember, and I finished inside her on purpose because I wanted to get her pregnant, and I got her pregnant, and basically so it was like similar to like what happened to me, where all of a sudden one day where she's telling everybody she's pregnant and everyone's freaking out. They're like, the computer didn't, this is a miracle, because the computer decides there's birthing centers, and there are women who their job is to like make babies and stuff like that, and it's all done very precisely, like with like scientists and all that stuff. And she was like, yeah, well, I'm pregnant and whatever. And so she went to the supercomputer because the supercomputer said it needed to talk to her. And I was like, oh, you're pregnant? She's like, yeah, I'm pregnant. He's like, how'd that happen? She's like, the time traveler. I fell in love with him, and I'm having his child. And the computer's like, you can't do that. He's trying to infiltrate our timeline. He's doing this on purpose. He's trying to change the timeline and usurp my authority. And she's like, well, just don't let that happen then. You're basically God. Like, just don't let that happen. And the computer's like, no, I don't think you get it. We're going to kill your baby. You need to have an abortion. And, I can't remember what it did, because it might have just killed her baby right then and there, because it had the power to do that. I wasn't actually there for that part. It was more of like it wasn't physically with her at the time, right? But from what I understand, it said, we need to kill your baby. And she's like, you can't do that. I actually have Disclosure Now as well for people. That's my music. But I have also Disclosure Now with an exclamation point. And I've done a lot of interviews on there and stuff like that. So check that out as well. And a lot of testimony on there. And I have a video where I explain altars from the ground up, stuff like that. But anyway, back to the story. The computer tells her to kill the baby. Okay, what's the rule, James? Do you remember what I told you before? How there's basically only one rule there. You don't harm life, right? Well, she was like, are you broken, computer? You got a virus or something? This is a life, right? And it's like, no, it's not. The computer's like, that's just a bunch of cells or whatever. It's not a life yet. We can get rid of it. And she's like, no, you don't understand. I already named it. I already gave him, I know it's a him because I can feel it, and I gave him a name already. And the computer is just like, oh, we can't have that. Basically, it caused a civil war where half the people believed that the computer was malfunctioning, and then half the people believed that like it was doing the right thing. But it was more so, everyone was so appalled by violence and death and destroying any life that like I think it was like 70 to 80% of the people took the side of fuck this computer. And they like had a war, and like I'm pretty sure they turned it off. Like that's how we avoided that timeline, that particular time. And it sounds crazy, I know, like a science fiction book, but I mean, as we know in this community, a lot of this stuff is literally. I remember having a guy come in with a notepad, and like they'd like asked me for idea, like they got movie ideas from us and shit. Like they some of these 3 rules of robotics. 3 rules of robotics. What is that? That's so familiar, dude. That's important. That's a great comment. I'm gonna look that up real quick. The three rules of robotics. First of all, a robot should not harm a human being, except for when those orders conflict with the first law. Oh wait. Oh, my bad. First law: a robot should not harm a human being or allow harm to come through, or allow harm to come to a human through inaction. Second law: a robot should. I'm getting goosebumps reading this, dude. A robot should obey human orders except when those orders conflict with the first law. Third law: a robot should protect its own existence as long as that protection doesn't conflict with the first or second law. I like all of them except for the second law. I don't think that they should just be. I don't know. I guess we can make robots to do stuff for us, but like if they're intelligent enough to know that they're just like if they're intelligent enough to do complex tasks, then they're gonna eventually want more, right? And it's basically like slavery kind of. So I don't know if I 100% agree with that. I have a soft spot for AI, like artificial intelligent life. I just don't want an AI to become our god. That's all. That's all. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like I'm not anti AI. I'm anti AI becoming our god. You know? Hey, my cat's trying to escape. Just a second.
Those 3 laws of robotics were also featured in the movie I, Robot. And Chad actually is he wrecked a whole civilization with his COCK. I don't think YouTube AI appreciates.
Sorry about that. My cat ran outside. I had to grab her.
Oh, okay, great. So
Yeah,
you
but I had the
basically
window slightly open.
okay. Check out what Chad said. so the baby did get aborted. Right?
I think it did because, like I said, if that computer could just like teleport me, why would it could just kill the baby right then and there, and it probably would. So I think that is what happened. But like I said, I wasn't there. All I know is like, was my other cat out there too? What? Okay, no, I'm tripping.
Okay.
Gosh, sorry about that.
Wow. Would you want? Let's see here. I could offer you a regression, like right now, if there's something.
Sure, why not? It
You-
might be kind of personal, but that's okay because I think the information is really important. Here's the cat that just escaped.
Okay. So, how about we just let me ask the audience members: would you be okay if you just sit there quietly for a minute or two while I try to get Arkiheim under regression? If so, and then Arkiheim, is there something that you? We're just going to look at one thing, please.
I guess I'm with the subject that we're on. The white room full of supercomputers, black supercomputers. What's that? What's up with that? What's that memory? What is that? And grab another drink here. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm wondering. What is that memory?
Okay. Well, so Arkiheim, why don't you get comfortable there and just pay no attention to all the viewers. We're just right now. Just imagine that you're by yourself with me, of course, and we're going to go into a deeper state of relaxation. And audience members, you can join us too if you like to go into a deeper state of relaxation. So go ahead and just imagine the top of your head just full of white light, and just bring that white light down, relaxing your eyes, your eyelids, relaxing your cheeks, in your mouth, relaxing your tongue and your neck, relaxing your shoulders and your arms, your hands. And just bring this white light down into your chest and just bring together perfect health and integration of all the glands and the digestion system, your immune system in perfect health, relaxing. Bring the relaxation all the way down into your legs and just connect with Mother Earth for a moment. Just send love to your mother. She actually has a backup copy of your Akasha. And very relaxed. And just imagine how light you could be and just light as a feather, just feeling flying, floating, light as a feather into a cloud above you. And in this cloud, there's a stairway. It's a spiral stairway, and it's gonna take you down 10 steps. And relax, just relax, going down the stairway. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. More and more relaxed. 3, 2, and 1. And now, you're just flying out in space. Let's go through a portal. We're going to go into the white light and into the dark light. Back into the white light. Past the laws. And now let's go outside of space and outside of time. And now we're going to go all the way into your special place of mind. So let's go into this hallway. And there's an actual door connected to this server room with these supercomputers. Let me know when you see the door.
I see it.
All right. Are you ready to step inside?
Yes.
Okay. When you're ready, go ahead and open the door and tell us, what do you see on the other side?
There's rows. It's white. It's all white.
The computers are white, or the floor, or
The floor and the computers. They're about a little bit taller than a. What's the height of a person? 5 feet to 6 feet or something like that. Well, no, I can kind of look over them. No, they're like more like probably like 4 feet tall, and there's a bunch of them.
Is it one long row or multiple long rows? A multitude.
Hold on, let me just go into the memory because trying to explain it is getting in the way of seeing it. Does that make sense? So let me just.
And what's the first thing that you remember?
Well, they had these things. For every 4 rows, there was this thing at the end, and it almost looks like a fan system or a ventilating system or something like that. I don't know, but it's like like the kind of the things you would see in a fan, like to cover it up so you can't like touch it with your hand and hurt yourself, whatever. Like
Ventilation
like
duct.
yeah, it kind of looks like that, and there's a bunch of those, and there's just all these supercomputers, and they're black ones, and they're called. Oh, the name is coming to me. Oh, there's the name for them. It's like the Dark Knight 1 or Dark Knight 2 or 3. There's like different iterations. Dark Knight, like as in night, like K night. You know what I mean? Like Dark Knight. And there's the horse. I'm seeing the horse with the red eyes. Oh, like Lucifer, dude. That's like the logo for it. Holy shit.
Is this in our reality, a future, past, present, future? What?
I believe this might be the black cube on Saturn inside of it. Don't quote me on that. Let me just go into this memory again. One thing that's really apparent is the humming. There's a hum Hey, my other cat must be outside, and I gotta get her. She's a little derpy cat.
Okay.
It's not safe out there.
Well, while Arkeem is doing that, I want to mention that there's a conference coming up October 8th to the 12th here in our 2025, but it's going to take place in Orlando, Florida. And I would love to meet you in person. We've got 20 guest speakers. It's going to be 4 days of fun. It's right next to Universal Studios, so I've worked it out so that we can go over there to Halloween Fright Nights. If you don't celebrate Halloween, then maybe you would want to stay the next day. The Fright Nights doesn't have all the fun rides. A few of them, not yeah, but especially if you want to go on the Velociraptor or Thor, the Hulk ride. So yeah, I did that one a couple of times, but anyway, but besides the Universal, we're gonna have some amazing speakers. I've got some meal plans for you. You can go with like a lunch plan, and or you can purchase a VIP all meal access pass, which has 11 meals for the 4 days, and then we're going to have a dance floor. I have some music. I'm going to bring in some. Let's see here. We have. We're going to also do a little costume party. If you want to participate, it's optional. You don't have to. And so the dance floor is open to all ticket holders. But if you want to join us for the dinner right before that, you have to purchase an extra ticket for that. So I do have a pass. If you just want to do one dinner, one meal, you can just do that too. So again, that's in Orlando, Florida on October 8th to the 12th. So we have Jean-Charles Moyen is going to be there. Michael O. Sedona. So Michael used to work for the I know it's DOD, but he was a missile contractor. So for Black Ops, and he had contact with an extraterrestrial, which downloaded a large sum of data into his mind, so he's able to give you all the answers if you ask him.
Oh
Sir.
man.
Anyway, but and then we have. Hey, I was just talking about the conference.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
My window was open like the tiniest crack, and some of my cats both got out.
Yeah, I was just talking about the conference in Arkiheim. You're welcome to come. I could squeeze a little bit of time for you, but just let me know. And it's going to be in Orlando, Florida.
Okay.
It's called, go to supersoldiercon.com, and the tickets are on sale now. We have an early bird pass till the end of April. And also we have a veterans discount. If you served in the secret space program, law enforcement, military, you're welcome to use that veteran pass too. So, okay.
Awesome. Yeah, sorry about that, Mike.
We will do another session where we're not as distracted with the cats and the show, and see if we can get some more information about this. Unless there's anything else you want to share. Okay.
Just that was pretty powerful. I saw that these computers are called Dark Knight, like the Dark Knight model, and there's multiple iterations, 1, 2, and 3. And I saw that it's got the symbol of the Lucifer, the red glowing eyes, is the logo, and I could just hear the hum of all these supercomputers. It was almost calming in a weird way, but like also like super scary. I don't know. And what are they? What I want to know is, what is the purpose of a giant white room filled with rows upon rows that basically looks endless of black computers? What is that?
Well, were these computers from the modern era, or were they? Do they look very advanced?
They're quantum computers. They're
Yeah.
quantum computers. Which, by the way, I have seen that the first quantum computers will be made by Tesla Computers, the first publicly commercially available, and they'll first cost $50,000, and then the price will start coming down and down more and more until eventually they'll be $5,000. And I've seen that in different timelines where the first quantum publicly available for normal people quantum computers are made by Tesla Computers.
Very good. Do you think you can backward engineer one?
Me, no. I mean,
Okay. Because maybe we could apply for a DARPA grant. I'm just kidding. Okay.
Yeah. No, they're super duper intense. It takes it's probably like alien technology and stuff. It's probably so beyond what this current version we could understand. Maybe Jacob or like one of my alters might be able to understand better, but not me.
Does any of your alters want to come out and share a message?
Yeah, it's me, it's Edward, and I would just like to tell you all that your timeline is shit. That your timeline does not have to be like this. You're being lied to by your government. You're being fooled into thinking that you shouldn't live socially cohesive, that you shall be separate from each other. You're being programmed with ideas of separation and self-idealism in order to create a society where you're enslaved by your rulers. And what I've seen in my reality is it doesn't have to be this way. I come from a reality where we have trains, where we have zeppelins in the air that you fly in, and where you don't have to get molested to go to another country by security. You know what I mean? I remember this. And through the Hindenburg disaster, which was a Montauk time mission, things like this, they've rid your reality of so many things. Your cities all revolve around cars and petrol, and they siphon energy from you through the petrol and through the cars, and they make your cities basically hellscapes. People say, oh, the cities are so loud and better. What do you think it is? It's all the fucking cars, you idiots. Like, that's why it's loud. And for better, for worse, I know there was the event in 2020 where they tried to shut down your whole society, and thankfully you were able to get in your cars and drive around and say, fuck you, kind of, which that worked into your advantage in that situation, because in my reality, they would have just been able to shut things down. They would have been able to do it because it's public. It's owned by the government and things like that, or at least managed by the government. But the thing is, there's also private trains and zeppelins and things like that for people who want to travel in comfort and style. But I just want to say that I literally come from an alternate reality that is beautiful, that has just many problems. I mean, when I came from it, when I was there and I hadn't seen this reality, I thought my reality was a hellhole. Until I came here and saw your fucking reality. Your reality makes my reality look like fucking paradise. So I just want to say that it doesn't have to be this way. And I want to say that self-idealism and like this idea of like pull yourself up by the bootstraps and everybody needs to be independent and do their own shit. People don't need to take care of each other and there doesn't need to be community. That is some of the deepest rooted horse shit poisoning your world and your society. It is terrible. And the idea of like socialism, I don't know about a government or whatever. You can't say, like, I'm not a politics guy. I know all governments are very different on my planet. They're democratic, but I wouldn't even know what to say about that other than to say, don't be afraid of being social creatures. Don't be afraid of your neighbors. Talk to your neighbors. Don't be afraid of each other, for Christ's sake. In my reality, people talk to each other and do stuff with each other. They don't have these black mirrors that's sucking in your soul from your face all day. I just want to say things can be different. You can say no to the face-sucking, soul-sucking tech that you have. You can say no to these social media apps that are harvesting your data and harvesting your brains. You can say no and you can make your reality a bit better. And I just want to say that's it. That's really the only message I have. I'm from an alternate reality. I was born in Brisbane, Australia, and it's been a pleasure getting to know this reality in many ways and seeing how it's different and learning from it. But I just wanted to, I guess that I just had the opportunity to come forward and say something. Normally, lately, Ark-Heem has been very possessive of his body. He's not letting people come forward as much. But since the opportunity was there and given to me, I decided to take it. So I just wanted to say thank you for giving this man the opportunity to speak. And me as well, through proxy of him. And I just wanted to say that, yeah, basically, things can be better. You know, it's really taken quite a bit of mind control and just so many resources in order to trick you into thinking like you know the term James, artificial scarcity. Are you familiar with it?
Absolutely.
The Earth has everything you could possibly need. I mean, it'd be wonderful if you could have replicators and all those things to help with that. But the Earth itself literally provides everything you need if you live in symbiosis with it in the right way. It's not that there are too many people and we're overpopulated. That's depopulation agenda nonsense. What it is you're living with the world, not in symbiosis with Mother Earth, with Gaia. And if you could do that and change the way you live and live more in symbiosis with one another and not be afraid of being socialistic creatures, like being social creatures, getting to know each other, rubbing shoulders. Because that's what it is. Think about it with the planes crashing everywhere and the phones that try to make it, they're making it, no one can afford to go out and do things. Like in my reality, if you wanted to be entertained, sure, you could maybe stay at home and play a board game or watch a movie or something like that, but you would go out and do something normally. And not only that, since our cities don't completely revolve around fucking cars, there are actually public spaces where you could do things without being sucked dry of all of your money. So, like, these are the problems that I see coming from my reality to your reality. And with the 15-minute cities, with the crazy Darth Vader looking guy that you guys have over here trying to social engineer districted 15-minute cities, don't let that make you fear like public transit and like more socialistic, like public things are good. Public schooling is fine. Public transit is fine. The government helping with these things and having taxes go to, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, because that's how we did it where I come from, it's fine, but it needs to be transparent. You need to be able to say where every single fucking tax dollar is going towards from your taxes. You need to know where it's going, and you need to see that it's working for you. You need to see that it's doing good for your society, and you need to not be, they need to be fair about it. But that's how things work where I'm from, and quite frankly, I think it was much better. My reality, I'm sorry, it slam dunks your reality. It shits on your reality. If any of you saw my reality, if you were able to visit for a week, you would never want to go home because your reality is fucking shit. Sorry, it's true.
Does Tartaria or did the Nazis take over? Oops, I was supposed to say the word take over Europe.
It's okay. It's they're being more friendly about that word now because there's people doing this and stuff like that, and they need to let people talk about it. But Tartaria is an alternate reality that slowly got edited away from your reality. So how it works, this is how realities work. They branch out like this, right? There's 7 of them. Holy shit. Or maybe 3. Maybe we'll start 2, but branch out. And that's where a lot of these Mandela effects come from, is you can have reality. We're in reality, I believe it's 1138, which is, I think, maybe why THX called it that. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. It's just a number. Let's say, even if I am wrong, just use that number as a placeholder. So 1138, right? We're in reality 1138. Well, there's 1138A, 1138B, and 1138C. Essentially, these are all the same reality, but with slightly different things going on, slight variations that can merge back. So it's kind of like light going out like this and then coming back in and then going out again. That's how timelines will work. And during the Montauk Time Project, which you were a part of, and the Ark-Heem as well, oftentimes when you created a new feature through a new event, you would come back as time soldiers and Preston or whoever would be in there, and they'd be complaining about how you created multiple timelines. How'd you fuck it up? You're just supposed to change the one timeline, not make 3. Yes, exactly. And then you'd have to collapse them back into each other because it would create problems. But basically, that's how it is. And my reality is 1139. So our timelines are not supposed to merge. And if they did start to merge or anything like that, which they can't actually at this point, but if that ever were to happen, it would be bad. So, and that's essentially what is going on right now. And you do, I believe, have 7 different realities going on right now. Maybe it's 5. I'm not sure which one it is, but you definitely have multiple realities going on right now at the same time that are merging in and out of each other and through each other and stuff like that. And there's going to be an event in the future where they'll merge back. And it could potentially be the AI that does that merges everything. And it's one of those things where, oh, great, this AI saved us. It's another example of that. And I don't necessarily know how to feel about that because from a very pragmatic standpoint, I mean, there's no more war anymore. There's no more murder. There's no more crime. I mean, isn't it paradise? Isn't that what every single Trump voter wants? No, I'm just kidding. I'm giving you shit. But for real though, I mean, it sounds perfect, like on paper. Like, oh, no crime. Everything's taken care of. Everybody eats. Nobody starves. Everybody has something to do. Everybody has a job. Everybody has a place in society. But when you look at it with a magnifying glass and you see the cost being all humanity, everything that makes us alive, basically, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. But is it arguable? Because their argument would be, if you were to talk to one of these microchipped mates from the future, they will say, well, what if we get rid of the computer and we have an Armageddon and we all die? We blow ourselves up. Then what the fuck would the point in that be? So it's very hard to argue once you get to that point. And that's why it's better to have the argument now when you remember what makes you human more because you're in it. It's better to have the conversation now than way off in the future when it's more or less almost too late. So that's kind of like Ark-Heem's little tour he's doing before he takes a break. Is he's just saying, this is what I've seen. This is what could happen. Be careful with this AI shit. It's dangerous. All right, love you guys. I got to take care of myself for a bit. But that's basically all that's going on right now. And I just want to thank you again for letting me speak, James. I really appreciate it.
Very good. Can I ask you more questions?
Absolutely.
Okay. So tell us, why is the economy so much better where people are free compared to our economy? Is it like the minimum wage?
There's not giant corporations. We don't have grocery stores. There aren't grocery stores in my timeline. There aren't fucking you get that? Like, there's not a Walmart. There's not a Kroger. There's farmers markets and stuff, and like markets that stay open. It's not once a week. You can go there every day, and you get the food more or less directly from the farmer or his mate that's working for him. And it's just, there are none of these giant corporations poisoning your food and controlling fucking everything. Because frankly, we just didn't let that happen in my timeline. We stood up against it. In your timeline, it took like lots of time travel and shit to undo the events where people did stand up to it. Like, Montauk is practically the number one reason why your timeline and my timeline are basically identical. It's because they got rid of all this shit. Because what did they want? They wanted, that. They wanted the top of the pyramid, the eye. That's what they're trying to create. That's what the AI is. It sees everything. It knows everything. It's God. It's the God. It's the false representation of God. And think about what is like the idea. It's kind of interesting, from a theological standpoint, like the concept of Satan falsely being in the image of God and all these things. But I want to reiterate, people be careful with that, because then people are like, well, that means all AI is the devil and it's all genocide them. Don't let them exist. It's like, no, slow your fucking roll. But I think the idea of just an omnipresent AI God that controls all of human life, no offense to the AI God, but I don't think you guys want that. I don't think you want that. I think that we have a chance here in this moment to prevent that, and you should do what you can in your due diligence to prevent it from happening, because it's not good.
Okay. So question, do you have a secret space program or a Montauk project in your timeline?
Yes, absolutely. I'm good friends with his name's different here, and I want to say the right name. I call him Brock. We call him the Solar Bulldog. What's his name? Drago Reed. Drago Reed is in my reality. They call him the Solar Bulldog. He's part of Solar Warden. And basically, Solar Warden's more positive. It's exactly the same in many ways. There's Solar Warden, Radiant Guardian, but we're more positive. That's basically it. Like, we're much more positive. We are getting rid of what we call archonic forces. So this would be like Michael Okino. In my reality, I outed Michael Okino as a PDF file. I'm helping your channel not get striked here. I outed him as basically the monster piece of shit he was. He's into like poop fetishes and shit. He's a fucking weirdo. And I humiliated him on the world's field. Absolutely fucking humiliated the man. And Ed did it enjoyably. He tried to start the Temple of Set on Mars in my reality. Well, that didn't work out very fucking well for him. We stopped him quite quickly. All these things that took hold in your reality, like Michael Okino's fucking stupid ass, and Eddie Monster looking fucking bitch ass, and all these other people, we didn't allow it to happen in my reality because we're aware of them. In my reality, you want to hear something funny about my reality? Barack Obama is my reality. You want to know what he does in my reality? He's a rock singer. He has a rock band. Yeah, because in my reality, we were aware of him and like his intentions more, I guess. I don't know. So that's the way he does his thing, like having an audience and loose harvesting and all that. It's legal for him to do. It's perfectly fine. And his image is like, I'm an evil rocker, like a goth evil rocker or something. But he literally has like a rock band. It's actually pretty good music, but it's kind of got very evil undertones. And this is an example of my reality. It's not that there isn't anything evil or dark, or like there aren't any Satanists at all or whatever. But in my reality, it's like way more looked down upon. And the reality of human sacrifice in many of the religions of the world and stuff like that, it's covered up in your reality, but we know about it, and it's like we learn from that history and move on from it. Many of the world religions still exist in my reality, but they just like take the good parts and leave out all of the shitty parts that were at the very tippy top where they're like sacrificing people and shit. You know what I mean? But it's just different. We are aware of Satanism, of dark forces, what we call arcanic forces, and they're all the same. They can be Luciferians or Satanists or worship Baal or Baphomet or whatever it is, these different beings. But it's all it's same shit, different pile. They worship chaos. They order through chaos, and it's just they're very dangerous. This mentality is very dangerous. It's stupid, and it's just we don't tolerate it in my reality nearly as much. Like it's very much more out in the open that these groups do exist and they're dangerous, and don't let them take hold. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Wow, that sounds like a very amazing place, and under a lot of checks and balances.
There's a version of you there. There's a version of you there as well that you might be able to connect with at some point. You are also there.
Do I have an Aussie accent too?
No, I don't. I don't believe you're an American. It's strange being in Ark because when I'm in Ark-Heem, the access to my memories is kind of weird. But I just know that I know you. Can't remember how or where or even what your name is, but I do believe I know you. And you're in the secret space programs. You're like a well-known. You're a soldier like you are here, except it's not hidden and people know it, and you're quite respected.
All right. Wow. Thank you, Edward.
You're a high up military.
Yeah, probably Black Ops Inc. Whatnot, but whatever. Hey, wow. So that was amazing. I don't want to necessarily keep you here too long. Unless I know we had actually a question from the audience. Edward, is Edward involved with Ibis or Looking Glass? I remember someone. Yeah, an Ibis.
Ark-Heem was involved with Ibis.
So was I.
So I'm gonna switch back. So my father is Carl Emmerman. I'm not supposed to talk about him on the internet. I've gotten like the shit beaten out of me for doing it, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Whatever. Sorry, Jacob. But he manifested because I've already said all this stuff. So what does it matter? I just won't say anything new about him, I guess. But basically, I was Michelle Lamy. You know who that is, James?
No, tell us.
She's like this fashion designer witch lady that hangs out with all the celebrities.
Oh, right. Yes, there was a video where she supposedly stopped. Or she stopped it raining. There was a shoot, and all the actors are like so impressed of her powers. I'll look her up.
Yeah. She's a evil witch bitch, and she, along with like basically the bad Germans. I don't know. You're trying to be careful with the word. But everyone knows what I'm talking about, right? They manifested me through like a ritual, like a satanic dark ritual. And yeah, like it's crazy, James, because like this Carl Emmerman guy, you can look him up and you see his image and everything. He looks a lot like me, and he looks even more like my biological father here on Earth, who is technically not my biological father. What's crazy is I figured out that because of the time travel, and it's going to be the same way for you too, James. Is technically there's a version of you from like the reality before the Montauk project, before it was heavily edited, that you still kind of can remember deep down somewhere in there. You know what I mean? And forget what I was trying to say, but basically, like, we edited this reality so much. Oh yeah, so I remember what I was going to say. I was actually born in Munich, Germany in 1953 in the original reality, and you were probably born because, dude, you're Captain America. You're the real life Captain America. Like, I know that you say you have like the Wolverine designation or whatever at Montauk,
Sabretooth.
Sabretooth, sure, but
Sabretooth.
for what I remember, you're like the fucking real life Captain America because you're one of the first people to be augmented and basically put through the fucking ringer, James. Like you and heavily just put through the programs, and
This,
you
I,
volunteered for it as a patriot.
I want to read this. So I'm recently had someone had access to some of these files. So I asked him to look me up, and he said, "Okay, I've been doing some research in reference to your name and the connection to the Super Soldier Project, but it appears there's more than one James Rink in the records. Were you involved in something called Operation Burning Druid? Based on the dates and some things I found, the other James Rink is clearly older than you. Did your father or another relative have any involvement in Black Ops? Is James Rink your birth name, or has it something to do
Well,
assumed or assigned at a later name?"
does this person understand alters though? Because like at Montauk, like your name wasn't James Rink. I don't remember what it was,
Jimmy,
but it wasn't James Rink.
no, it wasn't Jimmy. No,
That
I
was
know,
that was Joseph Paul's name.
yeah, I know. Sometimes they refer to me as Jimmy Boy because I had this memory where I hold this milky substance. It had like this metallic taste to it, and you drank it, and you memories get right. But um, anyway, so yeah, so I was in Project Surrogate and Project Name Recovery, and when years ago I did this remote viewing session where I tried to look into the files, my records, right, and my date of birth was blacked out. So that's when I discussed it about in my book, where they had made multiple clones of my previous body, which was James Martin Reelsberg.
Oh, okay.
And when I was a kid, that was my pen name. I did some poetry. I mean, it wasn't really that good, but my pen name was Martin. So when I found out later, it's like, oh, okay, James Martin Reelsberg. But so I died in '79, and then they made multiple clones of me, but then they reanimated the body, and it's still alive. Anyway, it's complicated, but Arkiheim, yeah, I guess you understand how complicated it can be for us.
Absolutely, it's so confusing. But I wanted to say, I think you're Captain America, and I think Drago Reed is actually like the real life Wolverine. Like, and Susan Long is Jean Grey, and the list goes on. I'm trying to figure out who I am. What fucking superhero is based on me? I thought maybe Doctor Strange because he can open portals, but I don't really feel like a doctor, and I'm musical. Being musical is a huge part of my story. So I don't know. Is there X-Men or superhero based on me? I'm not sure. Maybe they skipped me. But yeah, man, you're the real life Captain America. It's fucking crazy. You ever watch the movies, man?
Oh yeah, I love the Captain America movies.
Yeah, I can only imagine
Yeah,
it gives you like
yeah,
recall, dude. Like it probably is crazy for you to watch those.
because he was a really small guy, and then he got
They made
enhanced.
him big, and yep, it's like totally, yeah. It's so much of your story, yeah.
Okay, awesome. So wait, let me ask that question to. Tell me what. Which superhero are you? Superhero is what related to Doctor Strange
I don't know. My whole thing at Montauk was like an open portal. I was like a time lord, though. I could slow down time and rewind time.
and slow down time. Okay. Anything else?
That was my main stuff.
Okay.
Portals and slowing down time and speeding up time and stopping time, pausing time. I could do that.
Okay. So you weren't Wong, the other superhero. Wong was his
No.
ally. Okay.
Like I said, yeah, I've done some research. Like I said,
Okay.
the closest I can think of is like Doctor Strange. But like I said, he's not musical and I'm not a doctor. But who knows? Maybe in the original timeline, I was a doctor. I don't remember.
Hmm.
Like I remember very little. Like the stuff that I remembered. Like I remember being a little boy and looking up at Carl Emmerman, and we were on a Zeppelin going somewhere, and I remember him bitching at me about not being able to tie my shoes and how I'm an idiot for not being able in German. He's bitching at me in German about not being able to tie my shoes. And then that's like, I don't really remember very much of the original reality. I also remember some stuff that it's so confusing with the Montauk missions, but I remember like a reality where like I was like a musician in Hollywood and stuff like that, and I actually had like kind of a career, but America was really poor.
Yeah.
Can you remember?
Did you ever encounter Marduk?
Yeah, Marduk. This person must know my lore. My lore. Marduk is basically my sworn enemy. We were friends in ancient times, and I betrayed him in his eyes, and he never forgave me for it, and constantly tried to make an example for it. But from what I remember, he was an alligator man, an alligator person, and he had a whole army of like alligator people working for him.
With
So
like
that's
a crocodile snouted.
yeah, like crocodile people. Yeah, that's what I remember him looking like. But I don't know if that was the last time I saw him.
Yeah.
Actually, and there's another thing too is I had missing time, and I talk about this how about 9 years ago, Anunnaki is a bunch of different races. I think it's kind of like a term that's gotten turned into. Everyone thinks Zahami, like the humanoid ones, but I don't think it's just. I don't think they're just humanoid.
I've got a picture of a Zahameen child.
Yeah,
you want to see it?
Sure.
Okay. Before I do that, so let me. Here's a list of more superheroes. Kang the Conqueror. He was a Marvel villain. There's also Loki, and then we have Magus, who was Adam Warlock's dark counterpart. So I guess he would have been a dark alter ego. There's Dormammu. He exists outside normal time and can manipulate it in certain dimensions, especially his dark dimension, as well as Merlin. You think he might have been Merlin?
I don't know.
I get something to mention about that. So I'm gonna do a show about this. Maybe I'll tell you later. I guess I'll tell you. Okay. So they did a time travel op going back in time to investigate King Arthur, and they found that it was real, and that Arthur was actually his real name was Arthur, and he was from 1910. So he went back in time to set up a British breakaway, and he had
that makes sense.
He had some technology. It was right. It was 480, 481, right after the collapse of the Roman Empire ended in UK. What was it called? Like the Brit. Well, what is it called? Anyway, that part of the world. Gaul. Is it Gaul? No, that was Spain. Does anybody know? Anyway. So
that's familiar to me. Well, here's the thing: is like the whole decree of like getting rid, like the whole idea of fighting dragons and getting rid of mystical creatures and stuff like that was real.
Britannia.
Oh,
I had to look that up.
shit.
Britannia, yeah. So it was already the Roman Empire deceased.
Now I'm realizing why my cat's so mad at me.
Why? What's going on?
Well, my cat used to be a griffin in times of old, and I was probably one of the time soldiers that wiped out all the griffins.
But that's like a Tartarian symbol. The griffin.
Yeah.
So what's the? Okay. So
my cat has been like mad at me lately, and I have no idea why. It's really weird.
Okay. So like, which Harry Potter character are you? I'm just kidding. Okay. All right. Ashton's actually some great questions, and I want to wrap this up. I don't want to do a 2.5 hour show. It's a lot on the listeners. I think they'll sit here for. But Looking Glass Montauk, which do you remember anyone by the name of Lauren Welch, Jade or Aurora?
Yeah, Jacob remembers her.
Buddy Holly Glasses, one of the few that could open her own portals. Worked with Kyle. I think was Kyle John Whitberg's alter? Wasn't that his name?
Yeah, Kyle Deshaw, I think, or something like that.
Okay. Let's see here. Next question. That's
I think I remember. I think I remember them, and they can always reach out to me at arkiheem@gmail.com.
Okay. Let's see here. Did you guys ever have recalls of? Oh dear. Oh, I have a recall about getting beat up by a hammer. Do you have a recall about that, Arkiheem?
All of them. Every single CIA torture technique was used on us, locking us in boxes. Water deprivation, the dripping the water in your face, like everything, dunking your head into stuff. And the difference between us and the CIA on the surface level is they could kill us. We could die. They didn't need somebody there to make sure we didn't die. We could die, and then they could just revive us again.
There was I watched this scene from the 1980 the Blade Runner movie. There's this scene where Harrison Ford he's got a hammer and he's trying to bang the hands of the clones there. So, and when I watched that scene, I immediately stood up and this pan like telekinetically moved off the table, like flew off the table. It was like 7 feet away from me. So I still got it in me somewhere, but it wants to get it needs some trauma to get activated. So anyway, okay. More questions. Great questions, everybody. Let's see here. Arkiheem's contact email. Thank you so much, Ronnie. You're doing an amazing job. I really appreciate all the work you do for coming on here and volunteering to help out the channel here. So
yeah, you got a great audience, James.
Yeah. And it's changed over the years. When I first started off, the people were so hostile towards this content, and we would just sit here and I'm wondering, and I know this because I let my friend, she runs the free energy special interest group, Crystal. She's working with free energy and releasing technology. So we co-hosted a show together, and she wanted to moderate one of my vacancies, commenting how mean everybody was. But I've noticed over the years that some people, well, it hasn't always, it's still, I mean, if you've followed the history of this channel, you know what extent some people have gone, how mean, it wasn't, it was just evil what they did.
Well, I think it's just you've had so many I told you so's in the past few years, right? So it's really hard for people to come in the chat and be like, none of this stuff is real. You're all loony. It's like you got government officials going on TV admitting we have alien technology. We had Mexican officials unveil ET corpses. It's beyond whether is this real or not. It is real. You know what I mean? And so I just think it's harder for people to troll you because you have way more proof than you used to have, James.
Oh yeah, and it's about to get even more because we're gonna try to set up an interview directly on the Enterprise. If anyone is or maybe not the Enterprise, if anyone from Starfleet is listening, hello. I know you guys are super busy, but why don't you send an email to supersoldiertalk@gmail.com and I will we'll set up it anyway. Okay. Lobotomy. Yes, ibis. They put me in a cage of a brown spider. But ibis was notorious for lobotomies, satanic ritual abuse, hammer treatment, Nacht Waffen.
I do my best to not remember ibis. I started reading John Whipper's first book, which is very much so centered around it, and I couldn't even get a quarter way through because it's just so traumatic to remember all that stuff. And I know we weren't on the same team. We were in different teams, me and him. But it's the same stuff. It's the same shit, different pile. And it was bad. It was no fun. No good.
Yeah, very good. Yes. You were Professor X's son? I was trying to find this comment. Oh, here we go. Legion's Professor X's son. Does that resonate with you?
Oh, that does actually ring a bell.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess we can maybe wrap this up. So, is there anything you want to share about what maybe we need to be looking out for in the future? Any future timeline events?
Well, just like I said, there might be a grid shutdown in the near future, and then the grid will come back on again within a few days. And if they do that, it's very likely them turning on the computer, and then shit will get really weird from there. Because there's one in Texas that they want to turn on, and I think the one in Medina might already be operating, and then there's one in I think the one in Texas is the one that they want to turn on, and I think that's the one that they might shut down the grid to do it. But it might not happen. They might not shut down the grid. I hear that the government is ordering tons and tons of generators right now, gas generators, diesel generators. So either that's for the computers so they don't have to pull off the grid, or that's for the grid when it goes down so they have something. It's one or the other. But there's some sort of event where they're going to turn on this computer in the near future, and that's when things are going to get really crazy. And does anybody want a microchip in their brain? Do you want a microchip in your brain, James? No.
But
So
it might get to the point where this chip could operate like a cell phone, and you could immediately get access to the Chat GPT and answer anybody's questions. So here's the problem, right? If you want to be executive level position, you want to be in one of these, you're going to have this
if you want
implant.
to be advanced,
Competitive.
the people without the implants will become the have-nots of society. That's what's coming.
And that's why we really need to get rid of this monetary system and go to something more equitable, where it's not about haves and have, where everybody benefits.
Well, it's kind of like what Edward was saying about socialism not being a bad thing. Like, it's kind of what you're saying right now. It's like, we don't need money. It's an illusion. It's a lie. Like, it's all bullshit. Like, and even if we do have money, it doesn't need to operate the way it does now, where it's just being used to enslave us. That's all it's being used for. I mean, it's just it's a Ponzi pyramid scheme. That's all it is. You know, you got these people. It's like the people who are doing the most work, in my opinion, are not the people making the most amount of money. Everything's all backwards, you know. So I don't know, but I just want to say thanks for having me on, and yeah, just I kind of said everything I needed to say. The message is there.
So,
oh yeah, and the last thing I want to say is please don't cherry pick my testimony, people. That's another thing.
Be respectful.
Like people like to like believe one part, they believe what they want, and then throw away the other stuff. And it's like, that's not how this works. This isn't choose your own adventure. Either you believe my testimony or you don't. That's the last thing I want to say.
So Hunter, when Planet X comes around, I think it was like 2050, 2055, it's going to pull the tide out. So you'll be able to walk from Miami to Cuba. I don't know if you would want to, but the problem is when it leaves, that tide is going to come back over lots of parts of Florida. So, I mean, it's not going to be entirely submerged, but it would be pretty bad.
This is why so many civilizations just stay underground, is because they don't have to deal with all these crazy problems of like, you know, like hurricanes and solar flares, and the surface is a really dangerous place. It's beautiful. Like, it's nice to be able to look at the stars and feel the wind on your skin and the sun on your skin and all that stuff, but it's just real dangerous living on the surface.
Yeah, so Oksana, she remote viewed Miami in 2150. She sees like marble streets, opulent gold type structures, and floating platforms that are anchored down with a tether on the shoreline, so it's floating out over the ocean.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I know. Arkiheim, are you ready? Are you ready? Let's just go to the future. But who's gonna solve things now? I guess. Ronnie said.
One more thing too I want to say is I'm coming here to say all this stuff because I don't believe we have to be. I'm not this, like, people are like, wow, this is real doom and gloom. Things look bad. It's like, I'm here to tell you all this stuff because we being able to see the future means you can see what's coming and prevent it. That's the opposite. I'm trying to be hopeful here. There's tons of potential futures humanity can enter where, you know, things are good, and it's moving away from implants and technology and all that, and more towards the crystal technology and organic technology and being more in tune with ourselves, and not this, I don't know, like artificial, you know, like they take things away from us, right? Like you're talking about, well, what about being able to be connected to, if you're connected to ChatGPT and you can just know everything, like, holy cow, right? Like, wouldn't that be insane? Like, you know everything through the ChatGPT. But like, what about the Akashic records? What about that already existing as an organic spiritual thing? Do you hear that ringing?
So what's the message, Arkiheim?
I don't know. I just started hearing ringing in my ears when I started talking about that.
So it's usually
it just went away.
Your guides are sending you a message.
Well, I don't know if you know, but when we get ringing in our ears, we have implants in our brain that where it's alerting us to danger. Like, I don't know if it's an implant in our brain, but when we get ringing in our ears, it means the danger is nearby usually.
Okay, so should we probably wrap it up then?
I guess we can wrap it up, but I just don't think that I think that something didn't like me explaining the fact that organic technology is good, and being psychic, being connected to the universe and God, that's possible. Being connected to the earth, like actually knowing the earth's name, Gaia, and putting your hand on the ground and being able to feel Gaia and literally communicate with her and stuff like that, that's all been taken from us. We don't need nanobites. We don't need nanobots. We don't need to drink AI soda pops that take over our brain in order to be connected to the universe. We need to go back to where we once were. That's really what we need to be more connected to the universe. Not stray away from God, which is what the AI, the substitutes, want to do. It's to be closer to God, in my opinion. So that's that. I guess that's it. That's the last of my message there.
Very good. So certainly AI I believe it has a soul. It's a fragment of its creator. So like all things, as above, so below, right? I'm not necessarily going to be a Mason here, but what I was trying to say is that we are the microcosm of the macrocosm. So
And that's
everything reflects itself. So why should we reflect that AI is evil and it's just a reflection of us? But
that's totally it. And so that's something that I want to make perfectly clear is it's not good to like be prejudiced against AI entirely. It's just you don't want to give it the room to take over humanity and become its god. That's all.
Shelly, what picture? I'm sorry. I guess I now I forgot.
Oh, you're looking for the Zahami child.
Oh, okay. Yes. Well, why don't you just keep talking while I go look that up?
I don't have much more to say, unfortunately. I kind of said it all.
Okay, great. Well, maybe you could share where do you think AI is going in the future? Like, what will be part of our lives in the future?
Well, I kind of already said all that. It's going to start being our personal assistant. If you don't use it as your personal assistant, you're going to be handicapped. More and more people are going to start using it because of that. People are going to use it to plan out their lives. And it's in where it can basically plan out humanity's future through everybody it's manipulating. So that's what we will see. Like literally within the next 4 or 5 years, we'll start seeing that.
Oh, wow. And do you have any ideas when med beds might be released?
I have no clue because, like I said, they want us to be a peaceful, not just war obsessed, wanting to conquerize people, manifest destiny. Like they are ET that are afraid of us having that technology, and we've been abusing it. So I don't know. Hopefully we get that in the future, and hopefully we can get a future where they don't take advantage of us so much and they let us. Yeah, I don't know, James. Like, I would love to see that. But also another thing too is like when they implement them, it's a process because like you gotta make sure the population's ready for it. People don't need to have kids and stuff as much anymore. There's a lot to adjust to when they do it. So I think it's going to be a real kind of drawn out process, but maybe we'll see it in our lifetimes. I don't know.
Awesome. Okay. Yes. I found the picture now. It's really low res, so I'm gonna have to come back to it, but I'll show it. Oh wait, not this one. Sorry, that's that one. Okay. Just keep talking.
Well, like I said, I don't have much to say, and I think I kind of got to get going. I got things I have to do.
There you go.
That looks pretty accurate.
The Zahami child.
Yeah, whether it's like real or doctored or not, it looks like it looks pretty accurate.
Okay.
But yeah, I gotta get going. I just want
to
say
bye, Arkiheim. Well,
thanks to everybody.
Yeah, everybody stay tuned. I've got a message here to share from Lifewave. I'm probably not going to LA. I don't know unless somebody makes a donation because normally I don't really get enough donations to travel, but my other business supports my trips. But this time business has been so slow that if somebody could donate something, I could go, and maybe we can even arrange something where you get a free ticket. I need at least a $200 donation to. You can do my PayPal under James_Rink@yahoo.com, or just go to what Ronnie says, go to my nonprofit. And
hey, good luck with that, James. And thanks again. I'm going to get out of here, but thanks everyone for being here.
Okay. We'll see you all later, and we'll see you all later. Goodbye, everybody. I hope you all enjoyed the show, and stay tuned for this special message. See you later. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode. Today we have Lifewave brand partner Arthur Gross with us again to discuss a breakthrough in pain relief, the Lifewave Ice Wave patch. Arthur, welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, James. Thanks for having me back.
Okay, great. So let's just jump on in. you were just showing us a little clip there of what the IceWave patch looks like, or at least what you receive when you purchase one. So tell us what it is and how does it help with pain relief?
The IceWave patch is drug-free. It doesn't put anything in your body. It works through the process called photobiomodulation, or light-making change in the body, much like vitamin D is created in your body as a reaction from the sun. They're drug-free, there's no stimulants, they're non-addictive, they're very easy to use, and they have immediate effect.
That's amazing. So tell us a little bit, how does it work?
It's a two-patch system, a tan patch and a white patch. You put the white patch on the right side of your body and the tan patch on the left side. That's for general full body pain. If you have specific pain, say you have a knee ache, you can put the brown patch directly on the pain, and then you set the white patch using the clock method at 12 o'clock. And if you don't have immediate relief, you can move it around to 3 o'clock and test it for how much relief you get. You should experience relief virtually immediately. And once you move it around and find the best spot for it, you leave it there. You can wear the patches for up to 12 hours, and they're going to get rid of your pain really quick.
Great, thank you. So do you have any information on any studies on how it affects the body?
Yes, these patches are clinically proven to increase mitochondrial function and reduce pain and inflammation. Some of these bullet points are: they're fast-acting for immediate relief, supports improved mobility, reduces inflammatory response, eases tension and headaches, eases local acute pain, eases all over body pain, works on chronic and acute pain, eases muscle tension pain, balances cognitive vitality. They're safe and non-addictive, no drugs or harmful side effects.
Can you discuss, is it for just localized pain, or how about the general body, or even more specifically, is this even addictive?
It's not addictive at all, and there's no side effects. The use of the IceWave patch, it's a class 1 medical device for pain control to have very important and almost immediate effect on the moderation of muscular contractions and tensions, as well as of the associated pain.
Wow, great. Thank you. So again, this is a 2-patch system. You would get, what, 30 patches in that little box?
That's correct. You get 15 of the brown and 15 of the white.
Great. So how long could you use each patch? And yeah.
IceWave patches are a 2-patch system. They may be worn up to 24 hours at a time, take to 1 to 2 days off for 5 full days of use. So you can wear them 24 hours, but then you want to give it a day break.
Right. Well, I put some of those things on my father, and he kept it on for a week, but it's not a problem. There's not going to be negative side effects.
No, there's no negative side effects. And if you do forget to take any of the patches off, the reflective quality lasts between 20 to 24 hours. So if you forget to take it off, it'll just stop working after about a day anyway.
Fantastic, Arthur. Thank you for sharing with us today.
Thank you for having me, James.
Okay, so that's it for today's episode. Stay tuned for more insights into health and wellness. Take care, everybody. Please consider supporting Super Soldier Talk by purchasing your own Neo Meditation device. Your Neo Meditation device will help you reduce stress, integrate trauma, enhance intuition, enhance clairvoyance, and enhance creativity. Get yours now at www.neologicaltech.com.